All right, this thing going. All right, it's Reed here, transmitting out from the apocalypse, the wastelands. All civilization has been destroyed. Everything wiped out. It's chaos, man. Total SHTF. Everyone is running around like Lord of the Flies. People are killing people in the streets, burning everyone out of their homes. Nothing left. How are you going to survive? What are you going to do? It's the end. It's the total end of it all, I tell you. We're doomed. No hope. Run. Find a place. Bug out. You gotta bug out. Because there's no hope. After this video, I'm going to find myself a nice quiet corner and just end it all. Well, I had to cut that, everyone. Couldn't keep a straight face. I was trying. I was going to go down this dark, deep hole and everything else, and go for the total fear porn that everyone loves to hear. The we're all doomed, it's the end thing that everyone loves to hear. That seems to be what sells so well because, my videos, I show things off of how to do things. Oh, boy, do they get squat for views. But you know what? For the people out there that like watching those, that like learning stuff, that want to become more self-sufficient, that enjoy that, they're going to keep coming. Yep. I know I've been gone for a little bit, but I'm going to keep making them. I got a whole bunch of stuff planned, but they're going to be labeled. We're going to get into some advanced stuff. Going to be labeled for educational purposes only. All right? Because I'm the mad scientist. I know a lot about what I'm doing on some of this advanced stuff we're going to get into, and I don't need you guys killing yourselves. Okay? Some of this stuff is going to be a bit on the dangerous side if you're a complete idiot. Okay, stuff like that. And we're going to do messing around with making bleach from salt water. All right, got all the pieces I want and show everyone how to do it properly. But you get it wrong, you make chlorine gas. Chlorine gas is deadly. All right, so that's an example. Educational purposes only for a lot of advanced stuff we're going to get into. But like I said, people who want to know how to do things, how to get in deeper, how we're going to do a lot of stuff like that. If it's the end of the world and everything's come apart, I'm going to show you. So for those of you sticking around watching those, don't worry, they're coming. Now for everyone else that wants all the fear porn and everything else, we're going to talk about some stuff, but I'm not really a fear, doom, gloom type of guy. I mean, I'll cover some really ugly topics. I'll gripe about things and everything else like that. But see, it doesn't fit with my personality. It really doesn't. You give me the worst possible scenario that could possibly exist, the absolute worst thing out there, and my attitude is going to be, we're going to figure this out. We're going to survive. We're going to get through this. I'm going to build stuff to get through everything. I am going to come up with technology. I'm going to design something like that. I'm going to dig down and dig into my immense creative potential and my giant big brain that I have and find a way forward. That's how I've always lived through life. Plenty of times in my jobs when people said, you can't do that. There's no way to do it. I'm like, I'm going to build it. What? How in the world are you going to build an active, replicated sand system and you're going to put it together? I'm going to do it. And I did successfully. And I'm not talking, I bought components and all that. No, I wrote the code that ran that stuff. Put it together. Get things working. And we're going to also start doing some deep technology stuff like that because, I'm a geek here. We're going to go into deep technology. And we're going to cover encryption. We're going to cover all sorts of stuff. And yeah, that's a ramble on that. But I'm saying is, for me, you give me the worst case, the worst thing, things coming in, I'm going to find a way out. I just can't get behind this. Oh, just crawl in there and you're going to die. You got to shave your beard, man. If you don't shave, viruses slice you up. Doesn't work for me. I scoff at that kind of thinking. I freaking don't get behind it at all. No. Refuse. Not happening. All right? Just not in this mentally. And that's one of the big differences I found in this whole thing that's gone on, this whole giant mess of crap going down that I've found that really is separated the true survivalists, preppers, and all that type versus those that are LARPing, I guess you could call it. The real guys, they're like, yeah, okay, so everything's going on. Yeah, let me get out my plan book. Okay, so water, check. All right, medications, check. Okay, we can establish a perimeter, make security, check. I mean, they got a list. They got us doing stuff like this, start establishing things, they start doing. Everyone else is like, you're gonna die, man. That's it. End of the world. And it was interesting seeing how the videos changed on a lot of channels. I found it really, really enlightening, especially a lot of the big ones. Oh boy, those big channels, they were interesting seeing how things apart. And a lot of people, I guess, have never come face to face with their own mortality. I guess this is something new for some people, that they could actually risk a possibility chance that they have a chance of dying here. That there's a real chance you could get this and you could die. New to them. I guess the idea of facing their own mortality just terrorized and turned them to squishy jelly. Now, I've actually faced my mortality multiple times, plenty of times, actually, far more times than I care to share. I've got, nice, lovely knife scars here. I've been attacked with a knife, person intent on killing me. I have defensive knife wounds, scars all over, so like that. And no, I'm not taking my shirt off and showing everyone because it's gross. I've been attacked with the intent to kill several times. I've had asthma almost kill me several times. Death, kind of familiar. The dying process is what I dislike. That's why I prep. That's why I learn. That's why I gather forward, so that, death isn't going to catch me unawares. I will approach it on my own terms. When I'm going out, on my own terms. Anyways, stuff like that. But a lot of other people, I guess they just never really come face to face like that. And that tells me a lot about how safe this society is. For those of us that haven't experienced the darker side of life, that haven't experienced nasty crap happening to them, they obviously were at a loss. The ability to cope with these sort of things, they had no idea how. Not in their mental, repertoire or skill set to deal with that sort of things, to understand the emotions, the adrenaline, the fear, the feelings, just like that. And, this wasn't something, right then, bam, you're getting attacked, someone's trying to stab you, or someone's shooting at you, stuff like that, strangled, That's not what they were experiencing right now. This was a possibility. You could get this. You could get very sick and all that. And the idea of their mortality sure ate them up. That's what I've seen on a lot of channels. Now, no, I'm not going to go naming names, dragging stuff out. I've just been utterly surprised at some of the things I've seen people say, come out, do. Just wild. Just freaking wild to me. There's some specific videos I'm definitely going to address and stuff like that. I remember some of the people were talking about random sampling and stuff like that, and trying to debunk other videos, because they're like, no, to understand the disease prevalence in the population, you have to randomly sample the population and stuff like that, and that'll give you the correct thing for the statistical analysis. No, you've got that completely wrong. Your debunking video needs to be debunked because it was so freaking wrong. I'm working on a computer simulation program and stuff like that, and we're going to go through all the pieces of it, show how everything works, so we can show how utterly wrong what these people said was about statistical sampling and analysis for the disease. It was so unbelievably wrong. I couldn't believe it. And what was worse was a lot of people in mainstream science. I saw science videos, people that were scientists. Well, or they maybe have a real degree that says scientist, I don't know. But I saw people that were, had PhDs and stuff like that talking about this stuff. And I'm like, how do you get the statistics this wrong? Utterly crazy, utterly blew my mind that the statistics were that far off. And, that's one of the other things that's interesting to me on the science that we've seen going around all this stuff. One of the things that's really important in science, reproducibility, okay? So science comes up with, you have to have a hypothesis. It has to be falsifiable. You have to have a hypothesis, and it has to be falsifiable, okay? You have to be able to say, this can be conclusively shown to be false, all right? Then you have to be able to set up an experiment, and you have to have a control, all right? So that if, nothing happens to this one item or whatever part of the experiment, that you can show the control that, there's contrast, I guess is the best way to say it. There's contrast, okay? Then you have to go through your conclusions, analyze the data and everything else, and then you have to show if the hypothesis is true or false. Then you get other peers and all that to examine it. Do you have any obvious mistakes? Where are your sources of errors? Could something else explain this process and all that? And then key, absolutely beyond important key, reproducibility. And that is something that is unfortunately really bad in mainstream science. There's lots of stuff that ends up in journals and stuff like that they go through and all this other stuff, and they never go out and reproduce it. Why? Reproducing experiment results is boring. Everyone wants to be on the front lines out there saying, we're doing this, look at this awesome experiment, look at what we discovered. I want my name on this thing, it's amazing. And a lot of things don't get looked at, and then 30, 40 years down the road, people go, this is hanky. This is completely weird. And they try to reproduce it. Blows up. Doesn't work. Big issue in mainstream science. Big issue in actually all the science fields. But anyways, that's one of the big issues. Science. Reproducibility. Now, here's a catch. All right. I want you guys to think on this very carefully. When you make a model, when you have a model of something, okay, we're gonna model this and all this stuff, you have to take the model and you have to match it up with real world results. It has to match. Now, when you're trying to model complex systems, big complex systems, all right, we run into an issue, all right? We don't have a second Earth, all right? Let that sink in. There is no second Earth. So you cannot conclusively show your hypothesis is true or false when you're talking about the scope of the Earth. Not possible. We don't have a way to put a control in there to say, all right, if we didn't do anything, what happens? Oh, if we did this, this is what happens. We don't have a way to do that. So what you end up doing on models and all that, they're making little tiny systems, and they try to scale it out and argue it works for the whole Earth. Big issues with that. Big time issues. And I actually honestly go as far as to say that kind of stuff, when you take model simulations and all that stuff and scale it to the Earth or big time systems that we have no way to show controls for and all this stuff, that ain't science. That is not true science. That is conjecture, argument, premises. I mean, all sorts of other stuff you can say. But science, it is not. You can't show conclusively falsifiability. You can't do a control, and you have no reproducibility. And to say that the model equals the Earth or the Earth equals the model, bull. Yeah, sure. Any PhD out there calling me out, sure. Go ahead and call me out, whatever. I will argue to the end of my time saying that is not true science. It does not hold. All right. There are things to learn from this. There are things you can see and all that stuff, but you cannot 100% show falsifiability and repeatability. It doesn't exist in there. Okay, so let's get to the topic. SHTF school here, right? All this stuff going on and all this stuff, it is SHTF school. Not like, total SHTF. We're talking SHTF lite, We got a small thing going on. But there's tons and tons of things that are important to understand and learn about this. Now, I'll talk about the stuff in the prepping community we discussed. Oh, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And guess what? A lot of our assumptions were wrong. Completely and totally wrong. Absolutely wrong. Okay? And, and a lot of things that we've said on things and other people said, oh yeah, this is for certain going to happen. Totally wrong. Totally wrong. And let's review some of these. What kind of things can we understand that's wrong? Well, supply chain interruption, just-in-time delivery systems, So when it breaks down and all that, chaos in the streets. Everyone's going to end up, at the stores demanding, we want this. And then it's going to be mass chaos, riots, people burning everything down and all that stuff. From the supply chain side, no, that didn't happen right away. There was actually a far amount, and the buying power of the U.S. and first world countries kept them moving. Now that kind of stuff breakdown in society and rules and things came apart showed up in the third world countries first. The first world, we were able to observe and watch all that going down, but they shuttered and brought supplies to us to keep us going because the politicians, they couldn't lose power, right? They had to maintain their power base, all right? One of the other things is when they said supply chains and all this stuff would come apart, that the cities would burn. That turned out to be completely wrong. Absolutely, that fell apart. And we're going to do a deep dive into what does it take to cause a city to come apart, to burn to the ground and for it all to fall apart, where the cities will be havens of death, destruction, murder, chaos, the end of it all. Yeah, we'll do that in tomorrow's video. But did we see that? Did we see the cities just come apart and everything? No, not on the supply chain issue. We didn't see that in the supply chain issue. The reason is that's a big time voting base, the bloc, and so like that. They prioritize getting a lot of stuff to the cities. So like here in my rural community and all that stuff, we did not see supplies reach us, but they hit the other big cities beforehand. The ports where a lot of stuff came in, like on the East Coast and the West Coast, they got a lot of stuff delivered locally really well. California has such big farms and everything else that feed a lot of the U.S. itself. They kept a lot of stuff supplied. It was very good for them and things like that. Plus, they needed those big things because they knew if they let chaos spread and for it to start to come apart, systems would collapse. All right. And what I mean by systems, you'd see issues in banking. You would see issues in infrastructure. There's not enough police to control law and order. You would have people dying because you couldn't reach them by emergency service. They'd have to pull back police. They'd have to pull back EMS because they wouldn't be going into riots and casualty zones. All right, it's not a good plan to spread your forces and your ability so thin like that. They have to pull back to protect critical infrastructure, continuity of government operations, stuff. So we saw that as a complete and utter failure. Now, one of the other things is, we hear, it's only 72 hours to all meals and everything else. Well, they pushed everyone home, right? And the thing is, food wasn't available in certain things, but there were alternatives. So we saw people switch over. Now, people got antsy. Oh, yeah, we did see people on antsy, stuff like that. So as long as there was a food, that really helped. That really helped control things. And it goes to the thing of why we shifted stuff from the third world over to the first world. And why, the buying power of the first world nations, they let the third world starve. they were like, yeah, sorry, it's too bad you can't feed your people, that, we could have 500 million people starve to death. But we got to keep our power and infrastructure. Yeah, they did that hard. Okay, what else? What else is something else? When it starts to come apart, politicians will flee, be pushed to the streets. It'll be the preppers, everything else will rise to the top, be the kings of the Lord, and everything like that. That was a no. We didn't see sort of collapse go on in that direction at all. Politicians protected politicians, and the police base protected the police base. What am I saying is, the government, continuity of governmental operations kicked into gear. All right. They did what they could to enforce order, keep things moving, and make certain those people in positions of power were protected, that the governmental command authority stayed operating in position, okay? There wasn't no switch. There wasn't no, suddenly it's everyone for themselves, free for all, everything like that. Now, one of the other things that preppers and everyone else we missed was the mental aspect. And there's a severe mental aspect going on. So one of the things I really saw that was interesting to me is I was watching a lot of videos. People were like, I need to get hobbies. They're having all these things to do. People getting together, occupy their time, to stay motivated, stay so like that, and not get all depressive, okay? That was something we don't talk about in the prepping community much. We talk about it for kids, but not for adults. All right, we've talked about the sort of things like entertainment for kids, entertainment for people. I mean, in limited quantity. The adults, it's like we have all these things. And a lot of the preppers and real focused people, homesteaders, survival groups, these are highly motivated people, right? And so like when stuff went crazy, stuff like that, I was like, okay, I got all these things to do. I'm going to start growing all this additional food. I've got all this stuff to construct. I've got all these things around the home I got to do because my house is a disaster zone. I've been remodeling my house for too many years. And let me tell you, having a vanity in your kitchen because you haven't gotten the area in the bathroom cleaned out so you can put the vanity in the bathroom and take out the old... Yeah, I got a bazillion things to do. I had no shortage of tasks to do. And I wasn't worried. I didn't have like a panic, worry issue coming, developing all that, stuff like that. But other people, they sure did. The uncertainty of the times caused a large mental aspect on the adults we haven't discussed really. The crisis centers were being inundated with people calling in just in total crisis. Suicide hotlines were filled. People on the uncertainty were doing dumb things. And, we talk about certain things of how law and order breaks down, and this is a component, but we didn't talk about how regular people respond to this sort of stuff, how regular people deal with these issues. We didn't talk about that at all. We don't discuss it very deep because it doesn't click in our mindset. It's not part of who we are and how we think. For us, it's like, okay, I got food and all that stuff. Yeah, I'll start making beans. I'll start making rice. I got freeze-dried. I got all these other things. I got meal alternatives. I'll get out the MREs, all sorts of stuff like that. We're set, Like, okay, cats, you get less wet food right now, more kibble, because that's what I got all stocked up. You guys will Be a little stuff like that. Although they do love my freeze-dried chicken. My cats love the freeze-dried chicken. So they're like, treats, treats, treats. So I've had to share my freeze-dried chicken with the kitty cats. That's fine. I love my little buddies. And they keep any bad bug out of that house. I am safe. They got that house under constant patrol. But it's a mental aspect we didn't see at all. We don't really talk about. We talk about some of the things like that. And so a lot of things is also getting people to motivate and stuff like that. I had people talk to me, come ask me about preparedness and all that. But getting them from talk to do, even with all the stuff going on, proved to be far more difficult than I thought. It really shows the severe separation we, as survivalists, preppers, and all that other stuff, are from regular people. There's a severe, huge mental gap. Massive. Massive. And that was something that we don't really go into. We really need to do that. And the problem is we don't bring on enough people on channels who are just regular people. I'm going to try to find regular people, start discussing, doing stuff with them, getting involved and all that. It's proving to be hard. Yeah, as usual, a lot of things are. And so that's one of the things we definitely see. One of the other things that is interesting is, they talked about is, the poor will be the first to have everything come apart and all that. Well, what's interesting is they did lots of work to make certain unemployment benefits were pushed up, that all people on food stamps and all that got their benefits and all that. They knew if they cut those people off, we would have riots fast. They prioritized work there, and they let people that had resources, you had to figure stuff out yourself. So there's something for you to think about. And one of the other things that was completely wrong on all the channels was that this virus was going to kill everyone. This is the new Spanish flu, and it was going to wipe us out. The number of people that got that wrong was catastrophically bad. It was ridiculously wrong. And we're going to do a deep dive video, and I'm going to call it a model disaster. Yeah, we're going to go into the models and everything else and a lot of the history and a lot of bases on that, because we've seen a lot of time pass here, and we have details and data now to look at this stuff. And we're going to talk about how we saw people react incorrectly. And we saw a huge change about this, morphing from being about protecting people, saving lives and all that, protecting the healthcare infrastructure so we can manage this disease, to a giant, massive, and complete power grab to force through an agenda on many sides. We need to go over all that, and we're going to talk about the agenda of disease. That'll be coming, because we're going to go into that deep. But the people out there saying, this is absolutely going to wipe everyone out. No, we are not seeing that. The data is not supporting that. Now, right now, you can argue that this is the first wave of the Spanish flu. That right now, it's mimicking the Spanish flu. And when it comes back in wave 2, that we're all going to be absolutely killed in massive numbers, and it's going to be horrific. You could argue that. We don't know yet. All right. I'm kind of tippy on that. I'm sitting on the fence on that. I could see it, but I don't see it yet. Right now, I'm not seeing enough data to fully support it, so I'm leaning on the side of no. But I'm really mad about all this, social distancing, wear masks, and all this other stuff. We got to control it as much as we can. If this is the first wave, we should get as many people exposed to this disease as absolutely possible so they can get their immunity. All right. Because at least having your immune system exposed to it gives you a leg up on any similarities. You may not have nearly as bad. It's like people that caught, it's like if you catch like strains of flu, right? Your body tends to get good at fighting the flu, right? It happened for me. It's not for everyone, I know. But like I used to catch the flu constantly when I was a kid, over and over again, season after season. And then suddenly it started getting milder. And then I just barely I don't even know if I get it anymore. I probably do, but the body's like, death to flu. So I'm like, I hope, I've had the coronavirus and didn't know it. I would actually say I would like to be exposed to it. I know that sounds crazy. I even have asthma. I'm at a higher risk category. Oh no, Reed, you could suddenly die from all this. It could wipe you out. It's a risk, but the odds are severely in my favor of making it through this. I also have a good, knowledge of medicine to deal with this. And no, I'm not a doctor, not a professional. No, I'm not going to tell you what to do either. So ignore all that. But anyways, I think being exposed to this would have been good. Get as many people as we possibly can exposed to this so that you have an immunity response already ready. And there's a good chance it would really help if there is a Spanish flu type second wave. And it's like when I look at Sweden and some of the other places where they didn't really shut down too much, rates weren't that fair. And all this other stuff, everyone wear masks and all this stuff. And I have severe constitutional disagreements with a lot of that, because you could only really, true quarantine requires orders from a judge against a person who is infectious and who is unwilling to stay home and so on and so forth. You don't quarantine the healthy. Interesting. So that was another important lesson. One of the things that prepping got right was the martial law aspect, but not entirely. But one thing very true is you can see that government overreach will happen. They will push it through. They will do stuff. It's so on and forth like. But they will just go ahead and do it. And let's say if it's really wrong what we're doing, we'll have the courts decide. Yeah, that's a big problem. You could totally see how they could just close in a whole area, cut everyone off and say, it's a horrible, hideous disease. It puts everyone's life at risk for the greater good. We have to shut these people out. Just shut it all down, airdrop food and let it turn into Lord of the Flies or something like that. Yeah, I could totally see them doing that. I could see that, something horrifically dangerous getting out and something like that. And then, something from like Resident Evil where they drop a nuke on a city and blow it up. Yeah, considering the way the news and some of the other people were talking, I could actually honestly see that discussion and then approving and going forward with it. And I could see a lot of the unfortunate people in the population saying, yeah, we support that. Just insane. But we need to go deep into the martial law aspect. There's a lot to learn from that. And this video has gotten very long. Well, anyways, sorry for being gone for a while, guys. I'm going to get back into doing a lot of videos, teaching everyone stuff. And if you like listening and stuff like that, I got some big time rants we got to go into and dig into everything. And we'll just discuss things. I'm going to try to do a lot more videos where we just talk things out and stuff. But then I also got a lot to teach from everyone. Just remember, for educational purposes only. Take care, everyone. This is Reed, out for now.